Hello guys, welcome to the optical transport network in this third session. Today we'll discuss this one important part of this model 5. Question on this discuss or write a short note on this optical transport network like that you can get. The main thing here is that you need to have to practice the block diagram you are getting here. So optical transport network is nothing but basically it is one we can say a system which is going to provide the group of services uh, for the optical interconnections, which may be intra or intermodal connections, to carry the data transparently between different network elements. So that data can be carried may include the data may be switched or data may be routed so between different customers in the network. So like that we can define here. So OTN is basically, we can think of it as an advanced version of SDH or SONET, synchronous digital hierarchy or synchronous optical network. So present standard for voice and data traffic in public switch telecommunication network combines both SDH SONET with DWDM. That is a dense wavelength division multiplexing. We have discussed about dense and coarse wavelength division multiplexing in the last module. Okay, so the PSTN means public switch telecommunication network include or its functioning will based on SDH and SONET and dense wavelength division multiplexing technique. Okay. So sorry, 1 minute. Okay. So SDH and SONET you can think of it as OTN only. Okay, OTN is nothing but an advanced successor of this SDH and SONET only. In the beginning only we have seen that SDH and SONET were proposed 2 decades back during 1990s, which were actually based on the point-to-point communication, point-to-point based communication technology. So let us see the standard which is actually suggested by ITUT, International Union for Telecommunication, is G.709, which is going to suggest some hierarchical structure and functionalities of ITN with the help of 3 layers here. Here you can see in figure A. So 4 layers are there. This one is optical channel, and this one is optical channel for transport, optical channel for data unit, optical channel for payload unit, like that. So this is the basic structure as per the ITUT G.709 standard for the OTN functionality. So if you want to support in real time the OTN functionalities, then we need to go for this diagram B here. So full functionality we are getting with adding one more such layer here. Okay. So this is the optical payload unit is there, optical channel for payload unit, optical channel for data unit are main 2 upper layers which are coming, which are supported by 2 pillars here. On one pillar you can see the same all 4 layers are coming here. Optical the what you can say, so this one optical channel transport unit, optical channel for multiplexing, optical channel for again another one, this is for the transport. So reduced functionality here you can get, here you got only optical channel for transport, this one is for some other purpose, optical channel for the retransmission, optical channel for the payload. So here multiplexing is not there, and OCH is not there. OCHR is there, which has got some specific function here. So this is has got reduced functionality compared to this one. So if you go in detail about this one, so let us see how it will look. So these sections are further divided into n subsections that you can see in the diagram here. So here the total final diagram for the OTN. So these sections are further divided into n subsections. For example, you can see here. So the whole thing you can see is here is the optical medium here. Optical medium. Now that has been divided into different sections here by some elliptical sections you can see here. Some of them are shown for the intra-domain interfacing, and some of them are shown for the inter-domain interfacing. Okay, both the ends are meant for the intra-domain communication, whereas the middle one, OTN, is going to provide you the inter-domain interface or communication between the different elements of the network. Okay, so let us see how they can be further divided into n subsections, layers or sections to produce intra or intra-domain which just now I told, allowing optical signal transmission using either electronic or optoelectronic or all optical interfaces. Interfaces here means many things will come. It may include only optical interfacing, or it may include only electronic interfacing, or it may include O to E, optical to electronic conversion, or it may also include electronic to optical conversion. For all such media are supported by these intra or inter-domain interfaces. So all these things are going to form your functional structure of OTN layers. So what basically is telling this, we have to understand how further things are divided into n subsections here. So here you can see 3 more sections are required to support OTN hierarchy here. Let us see what are those. Optical payload section, optical channel, optical section for the transport unit, optical section for the channel for the data unit. So this one is a payload, this one is a transport, this one is multiplexing. Okay, so how they are going to function here? To have access to an end-to-end networking of optical channels, to transparently convey the user information, OCH is used in the OTN. So optical channel is basically used, it is basically comprises of optical media only. Directly it is concerned with the physical optical medium. Okay, so it is the main responsible media to provide the end-to-end networking of optical channels with transparent transmission of user information. That is the responsibility of the OCH used in the OTN, this OTN structure. It also ensures connection rearrangement for flexible routing. Full or reduced OCH are used. Okay, OCH R means reduced, OCH means only full. Okay, try to understand here. Only OCH means it is a full OCH. OCH R means it is a reduced OCH. Means OCH full means it is supporting both the transparent conveying of the user information along with ensuring the connection rearrangement for flexible routing. Whereas OCHR, it may support either one of them, reduced functionality, or maybe even less than that. Okay, that is the meaning of full or reduced OCH, which are used in the OTN network here. Okay, so this OTS, optical channel for the transport unit, its main function you can see here. There are 3 sections of OTS are there in the beginning itself. Okay, so these are basically they are going to give you the information about the through which particular optical fiber which wavelength should transmit. So that information is provided by the OTS, maybe in the optical subnetwork, or that will exist between, say, these 2 marks or these 2 marks. So these marks have their own meaning here. Let us see first what are their meanings, then we can understand each of these sections, and then we will go for the final intra or intermodal interfacing. So if you look at this one here, OTU layer gives added functionality including forward error correction. Okay, so many optical devices or switches are using there in OTN section here, like optical amplifiers are there, like it has been shown with the triangle here. Now we can understand each of these symbols before you will understand its working. So optical line amplifiers are there. Okay, so then we got optical cross connectors or add drop multiplexers, OXC or OADMs are there, which are represented by this trapezium symbol. Triangle symbol, it will indicate optical line amplifiers. Trapezium symbol, it will indicate combination of OXC and OADMs, which are known as optical multiplexing transmission unit, comprises of both. It needs the help of both. Okay, now you can understand the OTS sections which will exist between this one, another one what we are getting. So the square section which is known as a third, 3R. So 3R generation, third generation, a square section that will indicate full channel, optical channel functionality along with optical channel transmission termination here. Square means it will indicate OCH is now going to terminate. Okay, so here you can see another symbol what you left here is this one. So that is a hexagon is there. Okay, so go back to this the previous one. Yeah, so the optical subnetwork which is falling between this hexagonal network symbol and this square. The square it will indicate OTU, the OCH is going to terminate. It is going to terminate here. Okay, and this contains one line amplifier, and this has two sections for the transport, and these two sections are going to tell whatever the wavelengths coming in this section, and they are going to help or are going to provide the information to each wavelength to which optical fiber they have to be routed. So that information is provided by OTS here. And another optical subnetwork will exist between these two square boxes here, which has only one OTS section. These two OTS sections have got further these three sections here, OMS, OCH and OTU. Means these two are supported by OMS optical channel for the multiplexing. If multiplexing is required, for example, if you want to transmit the wavelengths, many wavelengths are to be transmitted here. Based on the wavelength division multiplexing, in that case we need OMS optical channel. Full functionality is there. Just now in the previous slide we discussed about it is going to provide you the two main functions. One is transparent transmission of user information between different elements of the network here. Another one is correction is there. Okay, so forward error correction is also provided by this. So finally it is bounded by optical channel for the transport unit here. So now next here, compared to that one, here also we got the same section here that will exist between this small section optical sub network here. Okay, so let us see what are the other things. So this full section is going to provide you the intra-domain interface, and here also this full section is going to provide you another intra-domain interface. And the middle one what you are observing. Okay, so if you compare first to complete with this, if you compare the left intra-domain interface with the right, the sections you can see the are very much different here. Here all the four sections. Okay, here you got two sub-optical subnetworks. Here we are getting only one optical subnetwork comprising of one line optical amplifier and one OMS. Two line optical amplifiers and one OMS with the optical termination here. Okay, which is different, quite different from this one. And these are supported by 4 OTS, and first two OTS are and later two OTS are supported by 2 OMS, and these 2 OMS are next supported by OCH and one OTU, like that. Okay, so this is one functional difference between the left and right intra-domain interface. Otherwise than that, further things explanation will be remaining same. What OTS is going to do, what OMS is doing, OCH and OTU is doing, it will be remaining same. That you just explain with respect to one. Similarly, you can tell it is happening similarly the same as it is happening with the left side, like that. But main thing you have to explain the functional differences. The sections here what you are observing and sections what you are observing here are quite different. Then operation of each of these blocks will be remaining same. So when you go for the middle, the inter-domain interface here, it has got optical payload section, optical reduced channel section, optical transport unit, and optical data unit. So optical data unit here provides the client independent connectivity. It provides you client independent connectivity. Means what do you mean by client independent connectivity? So irrespective of the client, which network the client is using, it is going to provide you the connectivity. Means the client will be totally independent. of his network, what he is using as far as his services are concerned. Connection. Next, optical payload unit enables access to the payload information like HDSR SONET signals. Payload here means what? The OTN, this whole structure is there. It will heavily depend on the functionalities of SDH and SONET. Okay, so it is once again it is as if how we are going to access the services of the top layers in OSI model. Some of the services, they will depend on the lower layers, like that. Okay, so this is how the OTN is going to provide inter-domain or intra-domain facilities here. So different physical sections of OTN interface based on the nature of information to be transmitted. Okay, so it may include only OTS or OMS or OPS, like that. Just now I told you here all sections are required, here only some sections are required here. Okay, so OTS provides the information about the transmission of optical signals. So the whole thing, the OTS, just now I told in the beginning, it is going to tell each wavelength to which through particle optical fiber it has to transmit. Okay, they're switching at the fiber ends, like that. So these functionalities already I explained there, which are coming one by one. So example, the reduced functionality achieved by using OPS payload as OCHR, that is reduced optical channel, as both OMS and OTS are not required in the inter-domain interfaces. Here in the inter-domain interfaces which are not required here. Okay. So based on the provision of or you can say the requirement, the fast, efficient and reliable network connection, the OTN can be reconfigurable. We can configure the OTN like anything based on how many sections you want. You can keep as per your requirement, called as automatically switched optical network. If you automatically reconfigure it, then it is known as automatically switched optical network, ASON, capable of switching the optical channels on demand. So ASON is nothing but reconfigurable OTN. This is important. Then it will give the automatically switched optical network. So next we will discuss another important part of this fifth module, that is Internet protocol. It is a network layer, a 3-layer protocol is there that you can see later now. Here you can see containing the addressing and control information. IP will allow the transmission of information in the form of packets containing the address and control information that is routed through the network between different nodes, reaching different customers there. So we can think of this IP as a logical architecture, and it is allowing the customer to have the connection with another customer without the knowing the need of which network domain the particular customer is operating. Means it is independent of the which network the customer is using, allowing each network node to communicate without knowing which network it's using and how to route information. This is very important. It means IP will not require the a priori information of which specific network the customer is using, and routing information is not required. That means that, so if your IP is got connected either with the TCP or UDP, then you can say the virtual communication has been established between the two customers. But for the reliable data transmission, only TCP is used, not UDP. Okay. So IP provides the protocols for signaling and routing. Examples are MPLS and GMPLS. So you can see here, that's how the network access we can have with the help of network layer and transport layer with the different protocols. So the first generation used is asynchronous transport mode to carry the IP packets, that is IP over ATM it is called, but it was not efficient as compared with the direct usage of SDH or SONET, because in that case if you look at the typical structure here, the first generation, this one, so typical 3 generic stage deployment of IP is shown in this figure. This is the first generation, this is the second generation, and this is the third generation. So in the first generation you can see here IP is taken over its responsibility is taken over by the asynchronous transport mode here. But we know that asynchronous transport mode is carrying the overload of header and some other uh, bit stuffing things are there, and moreover IP things are going to overlap with this, so that is going to reduce the efficiency of transmission of packets. So overhead requirements of ATM cell structure and inherent overlap packets which map significantly outside the ATM cell size are mainly responsible for not going for this one. Hence they will go for the in the SONET. So what is happening here in the first stage, the data is segmented into IP packets which are encapsulated. They are encapsulated by the point-to-point protocol. So listen here, boys. Listen here, students. In the first stage, the data is segmented into IP packets and are encapsulated into point-to-point protocol (PPP). So in the second stage, the framing information is added, and in the third stage, they will be sent over synchronously with over this SDH or SONET here. That is the first stage here. So whereas in the second stage, IP's thin SONET is there, and along with the dense wavelength division multiplexing is there. Here, 3-tier IPN, thin layer of SONET and DWDM is there. Okay. So thin layer of SONET, it will ensure a reliable transmission with less error and forward error correction. That will reduce the number of optical elements which are required optical amplifier, or you can say a number of elements in the OTN required, like OMS or OMS, or you can say optical amplifiers, or OCHR can also be used. Reduced functionality can be used here. So here you can see in the third stage, no SONET is required here. So by using, the problem here is that by using statistical multiplexing techniques, bandwidth is not assigned, use not required. Means so when you want to transmit the message in terms of packets using IP, so multiplexing is required, but this multiplexing is not ensuring the reliable data transmission. In that case, we'll go for the statistical multiplexing techniques, which will predict whether the transmitted information will be reliably reaching the destination or not. Along with the bandwidth will also is going to provide more. So that's why in the last slide you have seen, so where no SONET is required. So SONET is not required means we'll go for the statistical multiplexing techniques. So third stage includes IP over DWDM with increased sophistication of optical and photonic enabling techniques here. Okay. So SDS SONET is not bandwidth efficient as it uses synchronous TDM, because each time slot must be occupied by statistical multiplexing techniques. So therefore we'll go for the advanced versions like this. Okay. So this is the diagram that we referred. So today we covered important parts here. 1 minute. Yes. So if you see here, there is a 3-tier IP thin layer of SONET over DWDM. This is IP over SONET and DWDM. This is IP over DWDM. So two things we have covered today. One is OTN, that is very important. Another one is IP. This is also very important. So guys, you practice the block diagram and listen to this video and try to summarize some of the important things what I told during the middle of the explanation, which are not available in the book or in the notes. Better you listen it again and again and try to summarize your answers. Okay. Now we'll stop here. Thank you.